Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hi guys, and welcome to our first episode of the Slash and Gash horror podcast with me, Will, and my co-host Frank. So, me and Frank, we've been really in the horror game. Fans of horror movies for really all our lives, nearly. We've known each other nearly 15, 16 years. And today on the first episode, we just wanted to really discuss the state of modern horror, really, because our comeuppance into horror has been the past decade of kind of the horror films that have been coming out. If I could just go back to probably one of the OG days, I feel like one of the first horrors me and you went to go watch was Paranormal Activity 3, and we must have
Yeah,
been 15, 16.
yeah, that was one of the foundations that laid us into our horror journey, and then ever since then we've kind of just been bombing horror, but in a good way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's always been really a kind of a key part of our friendship, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
I remember when we were in high school and we were trading kind of DVDs and stuff,
yeah,
uh, stuff like Rob Zombie's Halloween, because I think I had that on DVD. I remember getting it from Asda. Uh, Maybe this is a couple of years after 2000. It wouldn't have been specifically 2007, I don't think, but maybe a couple of years after. Uh, but I think we went through all of them, didn't we? TCM, Scream.
yeah. Well, obviously, I don't want to blow more smoke up your asshole than there already is, but y- you know, it's fair. It is fair to say that you got me into the horror game, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. It is fair to say that if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be into horror as much as I am now. Honestly, uh, I let you borrow some DVDs as well, but obviously back then, wink, wink, they weren't, they weren't proper. Do you know what I mean? But shit had
Yeah,
to get,
they had them
you
bootlegs.
had to do what you had to do in it. But you let me borrow Halloween '07, Rob Zombie. That's why, obviously, that's we'll never stop talking about that on this podcast, just so you know. But that
Yeah, we
obviously
might
was
get
one
some
of the
hate
first
for that,
horrors.
innit?
Yeah,
We might get some hate for that because we're kind of big fans of maybe not Rob Zombie's second film, but the first one, the remake. I know that film gets a lot of shit, but
oh, bro. If anyone has a problem listening right now with Halloween '07, you can suck it. Because I'm not ashamed. We're not ashamed to say that we love that film. But then again, we have to remember the age we are as well. We weren't born in the 80s or 70s, so we didn't grow up with the OGs. We have a respect for them, and rightly so. But we don't for us. I'm pretty sure your favorite horror film, especially top five, is Halloween '07 as well. Not it might not be
yeah,
because of the story itself. It's not for me the story. It's because of what it means to me. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, because it's maybe it's not the greatest remake or anything, but it's such an integral part of our childhoods and our teenage years.
Exactly.
Even just the
Yeah.
most random shit. I remember me and Frank, we both did just for we did it for the bands really, the kind of drama for a GCSE because we thought, oh, we'll just do this and fuck about. It'll be an easy grade.
Yeah.
And we actually did do it. Do you remember we used to we did the Joe Grizzly scene?
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously we were so neck deep into watching it back then. I was obviously watching it. I think I borrowed it from you that week when we were neck deep into the assignment. And obviously I thought, you know what? We can't think of anything. The teachers aren't going to know what the hell we're doing. Why don't we just reenact the Joe Grizzly scene in the toilet? I'll be Joe Grizzly and you be Myers, and just don't be Myers exactly, but be a killer who just comes and kills me. I'll just do the Joe Grizzly line I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.
I'm gonna cut that mask right off of your face.
I can take it. I can take it. I can take it.
Oh man, that's you're right, man. Did you remember when you used to always sit there and be like, hey, what does he say when he comes into the
The
he's like, it's
oh
the bit where the truck comes in. He's like, I got a new paint job. Don't mess it up. Don't scratch it.
I used to just say the randomest lines from that film in it. Do you know what, man? Honestly, like we said in it, you got me into the horror, and it's something that I've always given you credit for. But like, you know, I, I'm glad that you did because everyone's into like generic shit in it, like action movies, comedies, like. But not only did you get me into horror, but you got me into it like really deep, like in not just slashers. Like we we obviously love slashers, but we like then evolved into watching supernaturals, and then from there you kind of introduced me to the OGs like Halloween OG 1978 and then Evil Dead and stuff like that, and then it just went from there.
Yeah, exactly, man. It was, like when you think about it, that's kind of like a good prompt into really kind of like the topic of the podcast, isn't it? Because when we were growing up, slashers had kind of like died off, hadn't they? Like the slasher genre had kind of it had its zenith,
Yeah.
and at that time it was either like you did have some slashers, but they were all remakes in it. You had like Rob Zombie's Halloween, 2009 Friday the 13th. Those,
Yeah.
but like that was when like Blumkin House had really like taken it into effect, hadn't they? And they were sorry, Blumkin House, Blumhouse, since
Nah, it's Blumpkin
they
House.
were just they were bringing out all these like ghost films, weren't they?
Well, obviously their like model was like low budget, and obviously, I mean, horror has always been low budget and always maximized in profits, isn't it? But they were
Yeah, yeah,
strict. That
definitely.
was always their model. Like I think Insidious or like the first, like the Insidious was like the first Blumhouse movie, I believe, that got them into the game, like into the supernatural game. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like
Mm.
Blumhouse, Insidious one was the first one, or maybe Paranormal was. Like Paranormal definitely was Blumhouse as well.
Was that Blumhouse?
Paranormal was Blumhouse, but I don't think it was like it wasn't shown as Blumhouse. I think what
So
happened.
was this like the early days of Blumhouse Productions?
Yeah, I think Insidious was the one that really took them off. If that's correct, I feel like it is because I feel like the amount of times I've watched Insidious, you always see Blumhouse's, that green logo at the
Yeah,
start.
and that's 2010 in it.
Yeah, so that's exactly when I feel like slashers died. You had Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, in 2010, right? But obviously that
But don't you
really
think they were
didn't
already
do
kind
that
of dead
well.
at that point?
It was already dead, yeah. For me, I know we were still young then, so we can't really say, but we were because we were growing up, like we were like 15, 16, we were growing up. Nothing I'm sure we were like whenever we used to game, we were always like having conversations like, bro, when's the next slasher out? What's going on? Like, there's no slashers, and then there was no slashers until like you'd have the odd one in it, like Strangers, but that wasn't really gonna do anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they hadn't really like hit the zeitgeist in a sense. Like the zeitgeist of our kind of era was all these like demon films, and that's
Yeah.
probably because paranormal in it. Because you've got Paranormal Activity, you've got Insidious, you've got because like the big one. I don't know if you remember, we were in college at like sixth form. That was like it Conjuring, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh, bro, how can you forget that one? Such a good film, man. Honest, one of the best horror films. Not just one of the best supernatural horror films, one of the best horror films ever, man. Honestly. Like for me, it's just so eerie and so well made by James Wan. Um that yeah, like I think when they made that, it just started a domino effect of like loads of supernatural horror films. Like there was The Gallows, which was a supernatural horror. There was like
Fucking hell,
Lights
I remember
Out.
the Gallows. Jesus.
There was Lights Out, Sinister 2. Um, then The Conjuring 2 came out, and then obviously, it just followed like that, didn't it? Like, and obviously it came out as well, which that it is a supernatural horror as well, isn't it? So
Yeah, but that was kind of it's real weird because I feel like at that point those kind of movies they were really starting to like run a bit raw, a bit dry. I know that it is Stephen King, and we did like the first one. I never saw the second one,
No,
I just want to ask for it.
no,
But
same.
I generally feel like at that point, because don't get me wrong, they're still kind of like trotting out a few like supernatural horrors here and there. Like
Yeah,
they still, but I just generally feel like at this point, man, it's been a bit like really dry.
in terms of supernaturals.
Well, just in general, like, obviously, I mean, this isn't us being kind of like horror snobs because we're definitely not that. Like, we like the good classic cheap, like even like. Do you remember went to go see the Bye Bye Man? That was a piece of shit, but we had so much fun with that film.
Oh my God, the bye bye man. Oh my,
I'm
I
thinking
forgot about that. Oh yeah, yeah. Like that movie is evidence that we would have gone to watch anything back then. Like,
yeah,
but for good
we were
reason. For good
fucking
reason.
yeah, like we would if basically like at those points in it, like there was a new horror every month in the
Yeah,
summer. Like I always think about in the summer months. Like I feel like we watched so many horror films.
yeah. Obviously, that's why when I look back, like between 2010 and 2016, right? Like we went hardcore, but in a good way. Like it meant we could chill more, we could like meet up more, we could watch our favorite genre of film on the big screen, which is why would you not ever want to do that, with your boys?
Mm.
So like we had a good, what, yeah, between obviously after leaving high school, I'd say between like from 15 to like 21, we had a good time, man. And I'm glad that
Yeah,
we did in terms of
yeah, definitely. We had a
supernaturals.
great time.
But like you're right in the sense that then it died off, and then I don't know why it died off, and like maybe the pandemic had something to do with it as well. But it was dying off before that anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know what I
And
think it was? Maybe not
yeah,
supernatural horror films, but Halloween 2018 was like the big revival of like slashers, wasn't it?
yeah, exactly. Like as soon as it got announced in 2017 by Blumhouse, right, that they were making that, I feel like Blumhouse kind of shifted away from supernaturals. Obviously, they were making shit on the side, but like obviously they made Conjuring 3. That came out after everything opened up again. But they kind of I feel like they weren't really known for slashers, and they're still not. Their only slasher name really household franchise is Halloween, and they fucked that up as well. That's a different topic for another day altogether. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, trust me. That's definitely a different topic for another day. But it's kind of essential to what we're talking about because
Yeah.
I generally feel like, in some regards, I'm going to say we just have to like make a kind of announcement or like a mid thing that we are going to talk about Halloween so much, the franchise. It's kind of like it's our franchise in a sense for like me and Frank. We
Yeah.
just and it ain't just because obviously like 2007 Rob Zombie's Halloween, but since then we've watched them all. Like I watched a fair few as I was like growing up.
Yeah.
At one point, I had all the DVDs. I don't know whatever happened to them. Probably in a
Still gotta
box
find them
somewhere.
and give them to me.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
it's one of those that I feel like Halloween 2018 was good.
Yeah.
Uh, Even though it got to the point where, obviously, I know everybody got gassed for that film, and we enjoyed it. But when you look back, when you've got like geriatric Jamie Lee flipping Curtis, Jamie Lee Curtis running around with Michael Myers at that point might as well be in like a back brace. So
Oh yeah. I mean,
it was goofy, but I generally like 2018.
mm,
I,
same. I
Me and
like
Frank have
2018.
back and forth for this so much. At the time, we loved Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
Like we
We
came
did.
out of the cinema, we were super gassed for it. Like we were so gassed. We were like, because it was just so violent, like so bloody. And then afterwards, we kind of looked back on it and thought, this is a piece of shit.
For me, obviously, my feelings like after the fact, innit? It's easy to say after the fact, innit? It's
Mm.
easy to say anything after the fact. I think I I I still stand by my reaction though when we came out of it. We were just like, yo, but you have to remember we hadn't seen a movie in cinema for like 3 years because of the pandemic. So I think we were just so
Mm.
thirsty for like seeing Michael again on the big screen. We'd waited, remember, that movie was meant to come out in 2020, so we'd waited another year. So we thought we had
Yeah,
no expectation to going into it. We saw the trailer, we saw Myers just fucking up all these firefighters. We were just like, oh, yo, this looks mad. Like, then maybe like a few months later, we realized, bruh, this is just like this is not what it's meant to be. Like, there's a
There were
lot of
certain
social
scenes that were
commentary
good,
behind
man.
this.
Like there were some certain scenes that were really good. Like the ending when he went against the mob.
Yeah.
I still like that scene, and I like the scene where that the girl has the Desert Eagle and she ends up shooting herself in the head.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
like that scene, but the thing that ruined it for me was the hospital stuff and just that evil dies tonight. Like it was
Yeah,
just
that's what
so
I'm saying, isn't it?
cringe.
Like the social commentary in the movie, like don't get me wrong, the social commentary in horror movies isn't anything new. That's always
No,
been about. But like there's one thing like having it in spells, and then there's another thing literally shoving it down our throats. Like for me, the I've said this to you so many times that like the flashback scene, bruv, that is 10 out of 10. They could not they could not do that any better for me. It's fair to say for me, right, personally, that that's one of the best scenes in the whole film, and that's like in the first half an hour.
yeah, the
I mean,
dude that they got to play Loomis was sick.
yeah.
Like he was great.
What does he say to that guy, young Hawkins? Officer Hawkins, did he kill again? Did Michael kill again?
The only bit that like does me in that film. Do you remember he just walks out right, and there's all them cops there, and he just stands there like a mannequin and just kind of like
Yeah, in a way though, I like that though. Like it's obviously a homage to the 1963 shot of him when he was a kid, and you know what I mean.
yeah,
Obviously, he
yeah,
stood
that's true.
outside that
Actually, I never
house
thought of it
15
like
years
that.
later. Yeah,
I never thought of it like that. That's true. That's actually really yeah, that's really true. That
because obviously that he's still 15 years later then, isn't it? So he's 21
yeah,
there. So I mean, if you ask me that, am I happy that we got to see Halloween in cinema? Because we saw obviously two out of them three films in cinema. Like
yeah.
we couldn't see the third one because of the pandemic and stuff.
Oh no,
But
we just ended up watching it. I watched it in cinema, but you didn't watch it, did you?
well, no, I watched it like on stream.
Yeah,
I
because
just streamed
Halloween
it.
Ends was the biggest piece of fucking shit I've ever watched in my life. Like, there's only two films that like visibly made me angry, and it was Halloween Ends and X.
Oh, wow.
Those
I
two
mean,
films just pissed me
but
off.
see, in contrast to you, I love X. As you know, I love X. Like I just love X. Like it's it's just there's something about that them 80s horror movies in today's like era, which no matter what year it comes out, if it comes out in 2035 or if it's filmed in the 80s or the 90s, bro, I'm always gonna be there. Because I just love that
Yeah.
vibe of the 80s. It gives me that Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe. And X kind of like TCM, do you know what I mean? But it was
Mm.
just like instead of a fucker with a big chainsaw in his hand, just that old bitch just running around like a mad bitch.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
that shit was just like some weird ass flipping geriatric, like these grannies running around killing people. I was like, what the fuck?
But I mean,
Bunch of granny bashers. What's going?
why don't you look at it like it's a slasher movie and we got another slasher? It is a slasher, isn't it? She's killing
Yeah,
people.
but you want that kind of like I don't know. Do you know the thing is like that one that's coming out that in a violent nature? That's
Mm.
like I want some guy who's a mad killer, like Art the clown, or not just some old granny couple that have like. Do you know when he that old bastard? I don't know if is it General Ortega. Spoilers. He like blasts her with a shotgun.
At the end, oh, it's so
Yeah,
good
it
that
just
scene.
pissed me off. Or when that granny she killed the dude. You know, like the cut guy, like his bird gets banged in the porn film, and then he like goes off and he's like, I think he's the good dude with long hair, and then the old bitch just like cuts his head off or something, or stabs him.
See, I don't, I'm for that shit, man. Are you?
Nah, I hated that, man. I hated it. I hated it.
But what do you hate though? Like the
I
way
don't
she
know what it
killed,
was.
or the fact that she was killing?
No, it wasn't just that. It was just the way they kind of like. I feel like the way they built it up for me just didn't work.
But
Like I know people love X.
in retrospect now, you get why they've made her, right? Because obviously now there's been two films followed that. One's a prequel called Pearl. So they've shown it. I don't mind it, man. Honestly, I'm being serious. I just don't mind it because we've got so many big slasher killers like Michael, Jason, Freddy, Bubba. Like, I don't mind like a mad bitch on the loose, man. We don't have many mad bitches on the loose, do we? We don't do it.
To be fair, you are right. It is rare they do like a female killer,
Yeah, and obviously,
which a
look,
lot of the time does work. I don't know what it was. Like I'd have to rewatch it, I guess. But I remember being angry in the cinema. Like it was so. I was like, oh, this is so shit, man. Look, because he
but
was like
that's
Halloween Ends when they pulled out your boy. Because I remember before we watched it, you remember you was always going on about Corey Cunningham or
yeah,
whatever his name was.
yeah, that was his name.
And I remember you saying something like there'd been rumors that he was the new killer, and I was like, nah, no fucking way.
I've got intel in it, in America. Well, I don't
He's
know.
always got sources on the go.
My sources tell me that oh, there was like a anyway. I just read recently as well. There was this is if you've not heard this before, this is actually true. Not even making this up. There was an alternate ending to Halloween Ends. You know about that?
No, no.
It was gonna be where maybe this idea was in a different Halloween as well, but maybe I think it was in Halloween too. I don't know if I made that up, but the alternate ending, James Jude Courtney confirmed this, right? That the alternate ending for Halloween was they both died, which would have been better.
Yeah.
And spoilers if you haven't seen Halloween Ends, but where the fuck have you been? And um, uh, the they start producing Halloween masks, and like one falls off the conveyor belt, and like that's how it continues, I think.
Gosh, that it would be that probably would be a better ending than what we got.
Ain't it? For real?
That ending really. Do you know what it was? As soon as he made flipping Corey like psychic Maya, like he's psychic, right? He's
Yeah.
Batman and Robin, and they're doing
Yeah.
kills together. And then obviously
Yeah.
Myers, that guy goes on the rampage dressed as Myers. Then Myers comes back and kills him. And then I just felt like the ending, like Laurie just fucked Myers up. She just fucked him up.
Too easy. Yeah,
Yeah,
like for a guy.
I just had this idea. Could you imagine them two? They're fighting in like some flipping nuclear power plant, and it just all goes down, and then it ends like that. I know that's a bit over the top, bit Freddy versus Jason, but
Well, I mean, no, I'd love that shit. Like, bro, you know me, you know us too. Like me and you, like we don't give a shit how over the top we get, as long as it looks good and sounds good
yeah,
and tastes like Halloween Ends. It just didn't taste like Halloween. It didn't smell like Halloween. It didn't feel like Halloween. It didn't feel like Halloween at all. Like David Gordon Green went for that season of the witch vibe with that. Like the end credits even had the same font as Season of the Witch.
well, I
Like
like Season the Witch. I think Season the Witch is a good film.
no, but I think that's what he meant to do. Like I think he went to do it. Like Season of the Witch, it's got a cult following in it. But
Yeah,
this won't have a cult following. I just don't think it will have a cult following. Nobody. If you're listening to this and are happy that Michael's dead, you might as well just like stop listening. Or if you're happy, then message us and tell us why you're happy that Michael's dead. I just don't think we're gonna get many people saying why they're happy, because
the only guy I know that I actually like online that says he likes the film is Mike from We Watched a Movie.
yeah, yeah.
He's the only dude that actually respect the guy's opinion on like horror, and he's the only dude that I know. I think that I've seen from like reviews that say he liked the film.
I don't look. It's such a tough one, man. Like I'm completely against the idea of killing Michael no matter what. But I was open to the idea of Michael and Laurie dying together. I would have at least been able to take that. Do you know what I mean? Like
Well, what about you? See, you don't like the idea of him dying, but
it's just
what
okay.
about Halloween two, man?
Let
They
me
killed him in
rephrase that.
Halloween
Yeah?
two.
Let me rephrase that. I think it's the way he died, isn't it? It's because you knew he got old. But then how is he getting old when he's supernatural? I don't get it, man. Like I still don't get it. And that film came out like 2 years ago. Like they built him up to be some mad, overpowered behemoth in
Yeah,
Halloween Kills. Then what happened? What
like it
happened to
was
that one?
like the idea that because he got so fucked up in part in Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
But then he kept coming back, didn't he? Like, do you remember they stab him in the back of the neck? I'm sure
Mhm.
he gets hit with a pitchfork at one point or something.
Yeah, yeah, they did. They fucked him up, and he gets back up.
Like he fucked up Tommy so easily. He pulled out the bat and he went back.
Yeah, like they're so fucking. That's our problem with Halloween Kills, isn't it? Like they bring back all these legacy characters. Lindsay, she might as well not be there. She did fuck all. Tommy built himself up to be some fucking Arnie. Like he was gonna do some mad shit. Ends up face to face with a boogeyman again. Stares him right in the eyes like he did in 1978. And he shit his pants again and didn't do anything.
He got his head smashed in with a bat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he died because he kept like saying, "I'm gonna get this son of
No
a
place
bitch.
to
Oh,
die.
I'm gonna get this son of a bitch. Where's the son of a bitch? I'm gonna get this motherfucker." Like,
He sounds like Vince McMahon. Take me to him. You stay here with Stephanie. Take me to the
I don't
son
know
of a
the
bitch.
lines. Forget, bro. Just forget the action. The lines in that film when he goes to Laurie and he sees her and he's like, "You helped me when I was a kid, and it's my turn to save you." It's like, oh my God,
It was
shut the
cringe as
fuck
fuck,
up.
man. It was cringe as fuck.
Like honestly, Halloween Kills first half an hour, 10 out of 10. I have no problem with that. And the last half an hour, I will say as well, 9 out of 10 for me. No problem with that. It's the whole
Yeah,
middle section which is just so unbearably bad, and it's just I can't watch it. You know what I mean?
yeah. It's
Um,
interesting that you say it because I was thinking about that. Like Halloween kind of was a bit of a fuckery, but I generally feel like them bringing back Halloween 2018 that made them bring back Scream. I might be wrong on that. Like they might have already planned it, but I feel like that because you had Halloween and then you had Scream come back and they tried to make a new trilogy. That's fucked up. Now they're making a new trilogy,
yeah. I
and I
mean,
feel like obviously you had Terrifier's been coming out. That's pretty big. So I feel like generally 2018 was kind of like Halloween, bringing that back to see well can we market slashes again. I think that's had like a bit of a boost.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am very thankful to Jason Blum for buying the rights to Halloween. I'm not thankful to David Gordon Green for fucking up Michael Myers. Let me make that clear. I am happy that it
Mm.
came back. Am I if you ask me, are you happy that we got three Halloween films? Um, which we didn't have. Like there was no sign of Halloween ever coming back. Am I happy that we got three Halloween films? Definitely. Am I happy with the plot in all three movies? Number one, I am. Number two, no. Number three, that can just go in the shit box. Do you know what I mean? And
True.
but am I happy that they exist? Sort of like I guess now, yeah, when you look at all 13 movies, we've got the good, we've got the bad, and we've got the downright ugly. So you can just take your pick, whatever floats your boat. Do you know what I mean?
It's not even downright ugly, man. It's the fucking maligned. Like,
Yeah.
like I remember the first time, and I actually over the years it kind of grew on me. But like, I remember for years we would have this. Like, this was even recently. We were always kind of clashing. Like, we were
Mhm.
flame warring each other over Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Like, I used to think that obviously we both used to think it was shit. And then recently, a couple of years ago, I watched it and I thought, you know what, this ain't too bad. And then Frank was still flaming my ass over it. Like,
I mean, do you know what though? No, I watched that last year and I didn't mind it. Isn't that funny? Like as you get older, certain films that you kind of despise as you were slightly younger, you kind of don't mind.
yeah,
But I think it's fair to say Halloween Ends and possibly Halloween Kills will never have that effect on us.
nah, definitely not. And I think this is because it's when I was a kid, I thought though that like Halloween 5 was all right, and I think that like 2 years ago when me and you rewatched it, that were a piece of shit.
Yeah, it was so bad. I think me and you, didn't I say like, yo, Willie, is it all right if we can just skip a bit? Because I'm getting a bit bored.
It was fucked on it, but it's like because I really like Halloween 6. I like the is it the director's cut? I didn't care for the producer's cut, but the
Is the
director's cut,
producer's
the
cut the
cinema.
one with is the producer correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the producer's cut where you actually see Michael fucking her? Or am I
I don't think
wrong?
it shows him fucking. I don't think it shows it.
I would have watched it.
But you would have or wouldn't have.
I would have. I'm fucking I don't care. I mean, Well, actually, she's grown up in it. Daniel Lloyd, fucking not Daniel Lloyd, Jamie Lloyd, Daniel Harris.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awful.
well, what year was that? 1995. So
Yeah.
she would have been old enough, like, you know, to be on screen to do that. But obviously, they got someone else, didn't they, to play Jamie Lloyd altogether in
Yeah,
1995.
yeah. They did bring back Daniel Harris.
Yeah, I love Daniel Harris though. I ain't gonna lie. I love Daniel Harris and Scout. Not because obviously nothing to do with Halloween '07 and '09. I just love their vibe, innit? Obviously, they're not like gonna be big actors ever, but Daniel Harris is like, oh, she's as big to the Halloween franchise as Jamie Lee Curtis is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And I think their podcast, that Talk Scary to me, that's quite good.
Yeah, I check that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're quite good, them guys. But yeah, I think Halloween, the producer's cut, is the one with more of like the cult stuff. And obviously, it's obviously it comes in that he fucking shagged Jamie Lloyd, then had a baby with her. So he's like
Oh
the
God.
inbred uncle,
Oh, that I see that
which
that
made no
yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I mean,
But I
you're a fan
think
of
Halloween
you're a fan of the
16,
Thorn trilogy. I'm not a fan of the Thorn trilogy. I like Halloween 4. I don't like 5 and 6.
the only bit I like of five is the most like it's the goofiest bit at the end. You know when the man in black comes in and he just like blasts up the police station. Like they just, I think someone just said, "Oh, yo, did you watch Terminator last week? Oh yeah, let's throw that in there." It made no
I know what
sense.
you mean. He just comes through and just fucks everybody up. Like, and didn't he
He
break
literally
Michael out?
walks in there like them dudes. Is it the Diaz brothers from Scarface? Is that
Yeah,
you know when they shoot the flipping guy dressed up, the fat dude?
yeah, the Octavio.
Octavio.
Don't they? Does he? The Man in Black. He breaks Michael out at the end of 5,
Yeah,
and then obviously 6 is. It turns. We find out that the Man in Black is Doctor Wynn,
yeah.
Loomis's assistant or something.
Yeah, he's like Loomis's mate, and then because he's like basically like Myers is like fuck. He's not like he's like his owner or something.
See, the whole narrative of someone helping Myers just doesn't sit right with me. That's what. As soon as I hear that, I'm like, nah.
I genuinely feel like they could have done it like the idea of adding the kind of like the Samhain, the ancient kind of like Celtic occultic origins. That can be done well. And you remember in Halloween 2, they kind of
Yeah,
they kind of show that a bit because I think it says Samhain, like it's written on the chalkboard in the school.
it is. Yeah, yeah.
So it's a cool idea, but I just feel like the way they executed it was it was trash.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what's mad though? Obviously, Halloween 4, 5, and 6 are sequels to 2 and 1, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, so it doesn't feel continued from them to personally for me. Like, for me, Michael is a shell of a man that from what we got to see in 1 and 2. Like, the guy's just, I know the masks are different, but just don't get, I don't like,
What
yeah.
about in 4 though?
4, I
I thought
love
it was the
4.
same vibe in 4.
I love four. I love 4 for different reasons. To be fair, the plot's not bad, but I love 4 because it's just, I've said this to you before. Like the intro is just one of the best opening credits to any Halloween movie besides 1, and like the ending to 4, it is one of the best endings. Like up there with 2. We'll probably do an episode like one of the best. Rank your best Halloween endings. But like
Mm.
for me, 4's ending is just awesome, man.
Is
Like
that
when
when
you
he
see,
comes out with like the sheriff turns up with the Spaz 12 and starts blasting him and they throw the
yeah,
dynamite down the hole?
yeah, man, it's just so much action. I just love it. Like, and it's not even just that. It's just the whole plot in 4 is not too bad either. Like, obviously he's back 10 years later, back on the fucking loose, killing man, doing missions. But obviously we don't know, until 5. We don't know he's dead in it. We don't know he's alive until 5, innit? We
No.
just think he's dead the way he floats down into the sewer. Um, we don't know if he's dead or alive, and all we've got
Yeah,
is
yeah, it is a good ending that.
Jamie Lloyd holding his knife, and then Loomis going fucking crazy at the end, and he's like, "No!" And he's gonna fucking kill her. And it's like, wow, oh my God, it's just everything's going mad in that ending. I just love
That
it.
is a good ending.
And we don't know if he kills her or not. That's the thing. Like, obviously, bro, they have to stop him to kill her because he's just about to kill her, and they have to grab his gun off him because he's about to kill a fucking. I can't remember how old she is, but she's definitely under 10. He's about to kill a little girl because he can't go through that again. Do you know what I mean? Loomis's arc in that whole film as well.
Yeah,
You have to
he's
give
sick, man,
credit to.
because he's like a bit of a madman in it. He's just
Yeah,
overall in the entire film, he's a bit, because obviously I know he's like burnt and he's got the cane.
yeah. But
Yeah, no.
going back to your point about if it wasn't for Halloween coming back, we wouldn't have Scream, and obviously recently The Strangers fucking have started a new trilogy. I know the first one didn't get a good reception, but
The one
they
that came
still
out the
did
other
the
day.
second one. Yeah, Strangers Chapter
Yeah, I
1.
watched that. I watched it, man. It was garbage. It was shit.
Was it, yeah?
Oh, it was one of the worst things I've seen in a long time. Because obviously I've never seen the original Strangers, but Strangers Prey at Night was sick.
Yeah, we watched that. We watched that, innit?
Like I love that. But this new one, it was just. I think it was basically a reboot of the original film.
Right,
Like
right.
it's basically the same concept, but just both the two main characters are just the dumbest motherfuckers you've ever seen.
Well, I
And
guess it's one of
you're
them
just
ones
like,
I'll probably catch on demand, I think.
yeah, you sit there, you're like, but you just sat there like, there's a bit, right? They're out in the cabin in the middle of nowhere, yeah?
Mm.
Obviously, the girl knocks on the door, you know, the standard, or is Tamra here, right?
Yeah.
Keep doing it. And then, so like, obviously, they're in the middle of nowhere and there's some creepy girl that keeps trying to fucking knock on the door, right? And a boyfriend goes, "Oh, I left my inhaler in the car 5 miles away." Jumps on a motorbike and then drives off.
Mhm.
Right, leaves her in the cabin. There's obviously a creepy person around, and then this girl, she just starts smoking weed.
Fuck me.
And you sit there, you're like, these people they're begging for it.
They're begging for it, man. She begging for
You're
it,
like,
man.
yeah, it's just like,
She begging for it.
like
She begging for it.
it were awful, man. It was the one that it was, yeah, it pissed me off.
Yeah, but I mean that's a perfect example, isn't it? Scream and Strangers, and I guess to a certain extent, I know Evil Dead's not really a slasher, but it kind of brought back a lot of the movies where we see gore and blood because of Halloween 2018. So we kind of have to, I'm not saying we have to fucking suck off Jason Blum, give him a Blumkin. What I'm saying is kind of just like we kind of have to be a bit grateful that if it wasn't for Halloween, maybe we might not have Scream. And obviously, I guess it's fair to make it known that me and you are big Scream fans as well. Um,
Mm.
Scream One is obviously one of my favorite horror films as well, as you know. It's probably one in top five in my top five ever of
Well,
horror.
I like Scream 1, Scream 2. Scream 2, I think, is a really underrated. Like, not under. I know a lot of people like it, but I kind of feel like Scream 3 is trash.
I, it is, but I also like that it exists. Funnily enough,
Yeah, I know, and I like the opening with Cotton Weary.
yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty
And there is
decent.
there is good bits about it. I like the ending in the house. I like the ending in Scream 3.
Well, obviously, it was going to be a different script in it, but it all fucked up in it because of
Yeah,
some
because the
mad shit.
Columbine, they changed the script to some, because it was going to be Stu that came back on it.
Exactly, and who knows? We might see him in Scream 7, but
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, man. Well, that's
that's
the
a
big thing,
dream, innit?
because I really like, we watched Scream 5 in cinema, didn't we? I think we both
Yeah,
like that one.
and we watched 6, didn't it?
And I actually like 6, though it was a little bit, the ending for me of 6 was a bit like, meh. Like,
I liked both films. I even said that to you afterwards. I liked both films. But for me, it just 5 I like more than 6 because I think for me I like 5 because it was the first Scream film we ever saw in cinema. We were still too young to watch 4
mm,
when it came out. So to watch it, to even get the opportunity to watch a Scream film in cinema was a big deal in itself at the time. So
yeah, definitely.
I went into watching Scream 5 with that mentality. But then obviously when they killed off our boy Dewey, like it still leaves a sour taste in my mouth. Like, did they really need to? I don't think they
Yeah,
did. I don't think they
it was a
did.
bit, it was a bit redundant, wasn't it?
And if they did want to kill off a legacy character, bruv, just kill off Gale because no one gives a fuck about her. Not really.
I was kind of pissed off they didn't kill her in 6.
Yeah, man, she was so close to dying as well.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Six was a weird one. I feel like in some ways, I said this before. I feel like 6 was. I feel like the new. So I feel like Scream 5 was basically, in some ways, a kind of like redo. I know it's a lot. It's not a reboot and it's a sequel, but in the kind of essence, it was kind of a redo of Scream 1. Because remember, it's the boyfriend that's the killer at the end,
Yeah,
and then in
it
Scream
is.
6, it's the guy's spoiler. Sorry, but it's the parent of the guy that was so Richie in 5 is the killer gets killed, and in Scream 6
Mhm.
he's his family, which is kind of the same as Scream 2 with Debbie Salt, because she's obviously the mum of Billy Loomis.
Yeah, it's literally Scream 6 is literally Scream 2.5. Oh, not
Yeah, and I
2.5,
feel
but
like if
like
they'd done a third
Scream.
one, it might have been something along the lines of maybe. Or maybe like a family member of Melissa Barrera, like, or maybe it was Jenna Ortega that was going to be the killer. That could have been a good idea.
Yeah, I genuinely think that was what they were planning. I think they've never made it known in interviews that that's what they're doing. They're following the blueprint of 1, 2, and 3. But
Mm,
you've made a good point there. I don't think many people would have picked up on that. Like the first one is like it's obviously not a direct remake or a reboot of the first one. It's like a reimagination of the first
mm,
one, where obviously the end two killers, they're not obviously mates. They're like going out, aren't they? They met on Stab Reddit, and
mm,
they agree to like become killers and bring back Sydney and Gale and Dewey because they're big fans of the whole Stab franchise, but they want to obviously make it into their own movie so they can be in the next Stab. On it's obviously sounding a lot convoluted when I say it like that, but a lot of Scream fans will understand what I'm saying. And then Scream 6 is obviously, like you said, isn't it? It's a it's not a direct carbon copy of Debbie Salt trying to get justice for Billy dying, but it's like a bit of there's a lot of similarities there where the copper, Richie's dad, he gets help from his other kids, Richie's siblings,
mm.
to try and take out Melissa Barrera, aka Sydney, in Scream 2. So if they did make Scream 7, obviously they are making Scream 7, but it's with a completely different cast. Sydney's back, which is good. I'd rather I love Sydney, so I'm glad that she's back.
I don't know, man. I kind of like the idea of getting rid of her. I don't mean because I like Sydney, obviously, but I feel like the new, is it the Core 4 or whatever?
Yeah.
I kind of like them. I felt like that was, I enjoyed them characters. Like, what's his name? Chad. I forgot what the sister's called.
Chad, Mindy, Melissa, Tara, and Sam.
Yeah, yeah. I like them. I like them for, like, obviously Scream 6 was a bit. You remember, like, he got stabbed about 12,000 times. The guy was just still alive.
Chad, innit? Yeah, you saw how pissed off I was at that.
Yeah, like he kind of should have died, I think.
I think he should have, but then again, you made a good point afterwards. You were saying he's the new Dewey, man. I was like, but then I looked at you with like, I looked at you like you just shot on my front garden, and I said,
Yeah,
I,
like, well, what
I
the
looked at
fuck?
you and I said, how can there be a new Dewey? There's only one Dewey. And but I get what you were I get what you were saying. He's trying to obviously the Tyler and Matt. I don't know their surnames, but they tried to obviously they're trying to make Chad into the new invincible Terminator in it of the franchise.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is fair enough. I guess you need one guy who can just take as many fucking stabs up the arse and still alive and to tell the tale. Um, but if they did make Scream 7 with these same writers, obviously Kevin Williamson's back in it to write the seventh one, which is I don't mind.
Yeah,
Or is he
that'll be
direct?
quite
I
good.
think
And you
he's
never know if they can bring your boy not Dewey Stew back. I'm still waiting for that, man.
well. If anyone's got a chance to bring him back, it is Kevin Williamson because obviously of the connection between of them two in the first one, especially. I think
Mm.
I don't know if this is true or not. I feel like Stu's an extra in number two. I feel like I saw that somewhere. I'll have to check that. But
No, but I
he's
just
like a
feel like I want the idea. I know we've been talking about this back and forth for flipping a couple of years now, and I think
mm,
I got the idea from it was we watched a movie with this idea of like a Ghostface cult that was being ran by Stu.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like that would be sick.
I love that idea. We said this before, like before we even started this podcast. Like, if it would come full circle, and I would genuinely be okay if Seven was the last one with that ending. Like, if Stu never died, but they kind of fucked it up though, bruv, with Scream 6 because they kind of referenced the TV in that big ass garage where those who was
But they
keeping
kind of
all that
left it
shit?
open as far as I remember.
Whose garage was that anyway? Like, who was keeping all that shit? I can't remember in six.
Was
That's
it
how much I don't
was
like
it the
six.
killers?
Oh, the family.
I don't even remember, man. I have to rewatch it.
We'll have to rewatch it, yeah. But for me, six has better kills than five. That's all I remember about six. That six has really good kills. But in
Yeah,
terms
the
of
bit in the bodega when he pulls out the shotgun. That was like a GTA 5 robbery scene.
yeah, so good. Yeah, see, I don't mind them doing shit like that. It's new, innit? We don't know, we've never seen that before, so I don't mind that shit. It's when
Mm.
they do the same fucking shit like we've seen in every ending of every Scream movie, where it's just the killer getting revealed. Like, for once, have some balls and don't show who the killer is until the next movie.
I
Do you know what I
thought that
mean?
would have been a sick idea. Like I always thought, right? Scream 6, the Ghostface, or like maybe they catch two of them, right? They kill two
Mm.
of them, and they're like just nobodies. Like, oh, we don't know who this guy is. The main Ghostface escapes,
Yeah.
and then the next film they reveal that it was Stu. That's what I was hoping for.
Oh,
It never happened,
imagine.
you know.
Oh, see, why don't we just fucking write it, man? Honestly, it just makes sense. It barely does. It just makes sense. Like, out of the three ghost faces, one of them runs off, one of them's never seen. He goes back to his lair, which is Stu,
Mm.
and one of them gets arrested and takes the fall for it. You
Yeah.
know, it could have been fucking, I don't know. It could have been some random guy Stu hired just to take the fucking bait. Like,
Well, no,
who
it's like
can
this idea like the Ghostface cult, right? He started a cult. So these two people, they're just cannon fodder. They get for being whacked, and they
Or they
hope
could
they
just be
reveal them.
fans on. They could have. I know it sounds a bit dumb, but you could have just found them on Stab Reddit again.
Well, exactly, because I feel like that would have worked from the first film, right? Because it could have been like Richie and is it Amber? They were
Yeah.
involved in the cult. Then there's two more dudes, and the main Ghostface obviously escapes. It's Stu, and then obviously the next film they could be flipping. You could have like 4 or 5 more Ghostface. It could just be like a cult of like dudes off Stab Reddit.
Fuck, mate, you're getting me horny, man. I'm getting a sick one. Like, like, can you imagine they actually did that? How good would the fifth one be? I mean, sorry, the seventh one be? Can you imagine, like, so many people would actually look forward to it? I bet even casuals who don't give a shit about Scream anymore, they'd be like, yo, there's actually 5 Ghostfaces. Like, what the fuck? Like, yo. And in the trailer, they could actually say, instead of actually being bullshit, they could actually say, you've never seen a ghost face like these 5. Or something like
Yeah.
that. Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, because
And
it adds more opportunities because they could like halfway through the kill for halfway through the film, right? They kill a ghost face, so it makes it a bit more kind of like intense because then maybe the ghost face it seems like that they're at risk. Do you remember in Strangers Pray at Night, the
yeah.
guy, the kid, he like killed one of the strangers,
Hmm.
so it kind of adds a bit more intensity. But you could do that in Scream where you kill one of the ghost face and they reveal, oh, we killed him, and then bang, there's another 2 that turn up. Bang, there's another 3 that turn up.
Yeah.
Like it just adds a bit more intensity to it
No, I agree. Like,
because it's like one of them
if
can die, one of us
Sydney,
can die.
Sydney or Gail can kill one of them like 30 minutes in the film, they think, oh, wow, everything's
That
back
was
to
easy.
normal now. But little do they know, like, there's another 4, like, still about. Like, and
I'm back.
one of them is from the previous film who got away, and Stu, and it all leads back to Stu Macker and him, Sydney and Stu going face to face one last time. And you know what? In that event, I genuinely would not be asked who dies, because to see Sydney and Stu on screen one last time, if Sydney kills him, I'd be okay with it. If Stu kills her, I'd still be okay with it. But we kind of know Sydney would kill Stu.
Yeah,
Well,
of
it wouldn't make
course.
sense for Stu to kill Sydney because then where would Stu go with that?
This is what I mean, man. I'm not like, obviously me and you, we're just fans, right? We're just kind of like shooting the shit. We're just
Mm,
kind of coming up with ideas. But this is what I mean. I feel like the genre, just like as you said, the state of kind of modern horror in a sense,
yeah,
right? I feel
yeah.
like they just ran out of ideas and they're just like, oh, we're just kind of do the same thing again. And it's like there's no adding to kind of like the lore, to the history, because it's obviously such a great source material. And it's like it's just the same shit. And it's like The Strangers, the new one, right? Like it's just they've run out of. I know everybody says this. Oh, the horror genres, they've run out of ideas. They've run out of originality,
Mm.
but they kind of have. Like it is true.
Yeah, it's sad in a way because obviously we were big horror fans. So to hear that the writers are running out of ideas, they're not running out of ideas in supernatural
They
subgenre,
are, man. They
are
like
they?
a
Yeah,
couple of years ago when we were that Conjuring 3,
I
that was a
guess.
piece of shit, right? Annabelle 3, that was a piece of shit. Like the
Mm,
only good horror film I've seen recently is that Abigail. That was sick.
mm.
And that was this year. I know last year Evil Dead Rise, that was gangster. That was a gangster ass movie.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess it's sad to say, but I guess we just, as horror fans, we need to lower our expectations now, maybe. It's sad that we
No, because
have
as I
to.
said earlier, we watch any piece of shit horror, we just enjoy it. We have bants with it, but I think recently, like there really has like there's a staleness to the genre that even guys like us that would watch shit like the Bye Bye Man or the Gallows and
Yeah.
enjoy it. Even we're
Well,
sitting there thinking,
you know me, as I've gotten older, especially me, I've gotten a bit more picky and choosy with what I watch.
yeah,
But even like something like, um, I don't know, like Sting. Obviously, we haven't got a chance to watch that yet, but even just looking at the trailer, like let's say 5, 6 years ago, we would have been there first day, right? Now it's just when we watch the trailer, me and you
mm,
both, we're just like,
mm.
bro, this just it looks kind of just goofy. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we were gonna go watch it, but I think I ended up like we just said, oh, we'll leave it because I think I'd finished work and I just kind of couldn't be asked. But
No, but that's besides the point. What I'm saying is like even just that we're only planning on watching that because there's fuck all else.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
otherwise would we even watch Sting? Like, I don't think so.
there's a fair few we've kind of missed it. Like I watched that Immaculate, right?
Yeah,
I fucking hated that. I thought that was shit.
yeah.
Uh, and I know that they brought out, is it The Omen or something? I didn't see that. There was another one called Tarot, which I didn't see that.
Well, yeah, they never appealed to me either. Because do you know what it is, bruv? I think I've said this to you before, off air. Like, I got jaded with supernatural horror, didn't I? But now because I've had a break from them, I don't mind them. Like, I'm ready to get back and fuck a ghost. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, the one that you were big like last year that was the big hype I thought for us, which I thought was actually sick, was that Saw X.
Saw X, yeah. Oh, was that a slasher though?
I don't know. I don't even know what you'd call the Saw movie because I remember back in the day they used to call them like torture porn, didn't they? Like I don't know
Yeah,
why they called it that,
yeah. I loved
but
Saw X. You know that.
the thing is though, right? This is the maddest thing. Didn't
Mm.
we? I've seen Saw 1 and 2 years ago, and I
Yeah.
haven't seen any of the others
No, mate, the same. I haven't.
apart from Saw X in cinema. That's all I've watched.
But the good thing about Saw X, it was a sequel to the first one, wasn't it? So you kind of didn't
What
need to.
was it? Yeah, yeah,
So you kind of didn't need to like that. I think that's the big reason why we both agreed to go watch it because it was literally a direct sequel to the first one and the second one. And
yeah.
aren't they making Saw 11?
Oh yeah, yeah. They're doing another one in it because Saw X did good.
Yeah, it did really well actually.
Which if it does
Uh,
good, then you understand that they're going to make more.
but going back to the original question, the state of modern horror today, I feel like you're right. Like they're literally running out of ideas. They're going back to old shit. Like literally, bro, Saw, Scream, Strangers, Evil Dead. That's all shit from where? Early noughties, 90s, 80s. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
they're always pulling out old IPs, aren't they?
there's no new IPs, is there? Besides Terrifier, and I give big props to the writers, I can't remember his name, Damien something,
Damien Leone, is it?
Damien Leone.
Yeah,
For him, for bringing, like, obviously it started off as a fan film, innit?
yeah.
All Hallows
We
Eve
watched that,
2.
didn't
I think we did, yeah, 2 years ago.
we? Yeah.
All Hallows Eve, and then what did it turn into? Then did it
It
turn
was
into
All
Art the
Hallows
Clown?
Eve. I think it was just All Hallows Eve, Terrifier, Terrifier 2, right?
Yeah, I think there was a couple in between, but yeah, I think they people like that who've actually come up with new IP. Like, I didn't really like the first Terrifier when we watched it, but the second one, I really enjoyed that. And you know when I've enjoyed a film when I'm still talking about it, like afterwards, I'm like, yo, that was it was, don't get me wrong, Sienna's pretty fit, so that helps. But at the same time, there was some good ass kills. The plot was pretty cool. The way he's like so fucking OP, but I don't mind it for some reason.
Mm.
I don't mind it when
The bit
normally.
that was goofy as fuck in that film, like it wasn't goofy. Like there was a few of them bits that I felt that were for me. Not that I'm a fucking like I'm squeamish because I'm not. That shit don't really bother me. Like when we were like teenagers, we always like would see if we had the balls to watch a like Serbian film for being human centipede. So we kind of like a bit
Yeah.
desensitized to like that. But for me, Terrifier 2, the kill where like it was just so over the top and like prolonged when he killed that girl. He was like throwing bleach on her and like he just for me that felt a
Oh,
bit.
are you talking
I
about the one
don't
where
want to
he
sound like a
killed
flipping.
when he killed one of her mates?
Yeah, like it wasn't that like I just thought it was a bit nihil like I don't know OTT. He didn't make me dislike the film, but
I get what you're
eh,
saying. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, we kind of have to understand where what kind of film Terrifier is. Like, I think what
it's
they're
for
kind
good
of
for
trying to
marketing,
do,
isn't it?
it's
It's
not
good
even
for
a
marketing
slasher,
because
is
it's
it?
like it's got this over the top, nasty, brutal scene. People are gonna watch
Yeah.
it because of that. I
Yeah,
understand it,
it's
but
never gonna be like Halloween or Scream where you'll just see a few stabs and then he's done. The guy, and
mm,
I don't mind him taking his time. Like, I don't mind seeing a 1 2 minute kill where he's just fucking mashing up the body like non-stop. Like, I know that sounds fucked, but because Terrifier is that kind of film, we can well, now we've grown into knowing what the movie's like. I don't mind it. Like, there's not many movies out there like that, so I kind of tolerate it. Like, it's kind of known as a splatter horror, and it literally does
yeah.
splat everywhere. The
I
blood
get that,
splats
and
everywhere.
I understand. I did like Terrifier too, but the one that cracked me up, brother, was do you know when is it at the start or in the? It's where he's like she's in that dream world or something, and he turns up with a Tommy gun and starts blasting everyone.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
And that was a good ass scene, man.
was it a dream though?
And something like that, yeah. I think it were a dream, but then she goes into that world at the end, doesn't she? And she fucks him up.
Yeah, it's so weird but fucking good at the same time.
I like
Like,
that quality about it.
well, we're
It just,
obviously gonna watch 1 and 2 again before we watch 3 in October. So,
mm,
um, but overall, man, the state of horror right now, for me, in if I'm gonna sum it up, it's still the same shit that they're recycling from the 80s, 90s, and the early noughties, which
yeah,
it
no
is
new
sad.
IPs.
But it is sad to see that they're not making any new shit. Supernaturals have kind of died down, but I feel like even like you said in it, even I think they're running out of ideas with supernaturals now. Because how many times do you want to see a little kid getting fucking possessed?
Yeah, it's the same
Same.
shit, different day, innit? It
Yeah.
was like that Exorcist the Believer. I don't know if that was this year or last year, but that was garbage.
You went to watch that. Didn't you? Remember, I was boycotting that film.
Yeah, which actually
I
deserved
literally
it.
told you. I said, "Bro, you're gonna have to drag me out by my balls to go watch that. I ain't watching that." You went
Well,
to watch it.
you're right, Mo, man. Like, it was not worth watching at all. Like, as you say, the only one this year I've seen and really enjoyed was Abigail,
Ah, fairs.
and I
Yeah,
think
I guess.
last year
Do
the
you know
only
what it
film that I
is?
enjoyed. Huh?
I was gonna say, do you know what it is? Out of every 10 shit horrors that come out, there'll always be one or two that get to the point that
Yeah,
that hit.
it hit
So
the
I guess
spot in it.
Abigail's one of
Yeah,
them.
it was I think last year as well. The only this isn't really a horror film in a sense, but the only other film I think last year that I really enjoyed was flipping the Meg 2.
Oh yeah.
like obviously, you know, it's Jason Statham fighting a giant shark, which is it's more of an action film, but a
Yeah,
creature
no, I get
feature
what
or
you're
whatever.
saying.
But
Yeah, no, you're right to mention it. It's got like it's a shark in it. So it's
mm,
people are scared of
that
sharks.
hit the spot.
Yeah, that was a good film.
So it's one of them, man. As you say, there is a little bit of a kind of
Yeah.
there's a bit of a. I just feel like I'm hoping that with shit like, as you say, like with Inner Violent Nature, Terrifier 3, or you know, maybe next year Scream 7, maybe they decide to like hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be a new Halloween in the next couple of years, and hopefully they can do that right, and hopefully there'll be a bit of a revival of good ideas. Fingers
Well, I
crossed.
mean, Halloween, obviously they're making a TV show, aren't they? So that'll be on the small screen for a while. Obviously, we'll be streaming them episodes together, so we'll obviously talk about each episode after it's aired, but I don't think we'll be seeing Halloween on the big screen. But in terms of like seeing like even Scream 7, obviously that is gonna get made one way or another. It's just they're just waiting for other people to get on board.
Mm,
But for me, especially this year, like we've talked about watching so many horrors and we've just not gone because either one, I've just not really when I've watched the trailer twice, I've just the trailers have just not appealed to me, or we've just not had the chance.
mm,
Whereas in another world, at another time in our lives, we would have gone to watch every single horror that came out like this year, like
mm.
on release
A
day.
decade ago, we would have been just like rammed in the cinema.
Yeah, I mean, for our love for horror is still strong as it ever is. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, of
But
course.
it's just, I think it's a very different world now, isn't it? In terms of like for the movies that came out 10 years ago to the movies that are coming out now, they're very different.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, like remember when we were young, like the zeitgeist was found footage. Found footage is gone.
Definitely.
So
Um,
it kind of just you go. It's always going to have its new kind of like the new kind of stages. You know, every decade has its own flair. But I feel
yeah, I
like
think
so
so.
far the past, you know, like obviously we're in 2024 now, so
Yeah.
like the 20s basically. You know, I don't know what the formula is of this
But I
decade.
think
It,
I think post 2017, it's just been there's been a lot of slashers because of Halloween, I think. Um,
mm.
Halloween started off the trend again, and that's not a
Well,
bad thing.
I checked when we were talking about earlier. Terrifier came out in 2016, so maybe we were Terrifier that started that slasher trend back.
Mm,
Because I know Terrifier was independent. It was a little bit more kind of like, you know, low key.
it was probably low key, but it probably didn't. I don't know. I don't think that would have done that much of an influence like Halloween did. Like, do you remember Halloween?
Mm,
Halloween. This shows you how much of a thirst there was for slashers because
mm,
Halloween overperformed so much. Like, it made like 250 mil at the box office. That's one of the
Jesus.
best grossing horror films ever. And that just
Yeah.
shows you like people were really thirsty for Halloween. Not just Halloween, a slasher. Let's say a lot of people might have gone just to watch someone get fucked up by a knife or a
Mm,
weapon slasher. A lot of people might have gone to see Michael again. Like we went to see because we went to watch it because we were always going to go watch it. We were big Michael Myers fans. We're still big Michael Myers fans. So we went for
mm,
that reason. There'll be other people who really wanted to watch it because it was a direct sequel to 2018. No, sorry, 1978. I guess my
yeah.
point is they need to like the synopsis for 2018 was very good. Like it said, and I guess Jamie Lee Curtis returning. There's a big fan base out there for Jamie Lee Curtis, isn't it?
Mm,
So there was a lot. 2018 came out in the right place at the right time. So it did overperform in my opinion. But when producers and studios saw that, damn, why don't we fucking jump on making slashers? Scream came out.
mm.
Spyglass bought the rights from Dimension when Dimension fucked up. And then I guess Strangers probably recently, past 2 years ago. I don't know. That's what I don't understand though. They made a trilogy. Like I don't know why they were so confident in that when this new one hasn't even done that well. So
Well,
it's
as far as I know, bro, they've already made all three films.
oh
So the second one's going to come out later this year, and the third one is next year. They've already made them all, so they must have made all three on like just a shithole budget.
Probably. If you're saying that it was just set in a couple of locations, then I guess it was probably affordable for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely won't expend it. It won't expend it
Probably,
at
I put
all.
like
But
5 mil.
yeah, I'd have
Yeah.
to check. But like, and I don't know what they're gonna do the second one because I don't want like a remake of Prey at Night because I really like Prey at Night. I thought that just hit the spot.
Are you saying this was like a kind of remake? Well, because I've not seen chapter one, so are you saying it's like a reboot of 2008 Strangers? Because I really like 2008 Strangers.
It's basically the same film. I've never seen the film, but I know the story. I've obviously read over like the freaking Wikipedia or whatever, seen a few reviews, and as far as I'm
Yeah.
aware, it's basically the same film.
All right. I mean, when chapter two trailer drops, obviously you know me, I'll check it, and if I think it's worth watching, I'll be like, bruv, should we go?
Yeah, we'll hit it up. Yeah, yeah, man. It's one of them. Hopefully, as you say, hopefully that they have some fucking good ideas for this kind of shit, man.
Yeah. Otherwise, I feel like the state of horror, bruv, it's not really looking that good.
Nah, well, we'll see what happens. There's a few hits that I think are going to come out this year that will be
Well,
good.
well, I mean, Maxine. I'm really. Do you know what's mad? Maxine will do really well. I really think it will. There's a big fan base for X franchise.
Yeah, as you said, like I said earlier, I hated X, but as soon as I saw Maxine, the trailer, I like, you know what? I think
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool. And then they've got like the Night Stalker, aren't they? So it's like a
yeah,
real life serial killer on the go.
yeah. The rest of the year is looking very good. The first half of the year's horror movies for me just didn't tickle my balls at all. But the second
Yeah.
half of the year's movies, Maxine, Alien, Terrifier 3.
Mm.
There's another one in between. I can't remember now. But yeah, there's always them one of them random ones that come out, don't they? Like last year, Cobweb. Did you watch Cobweb?
No, I didn't.
We'll have to watch that and do a review on it, see what it's about.
Yeah, yeah, and I think as you say, Violent Nature's coming out next month, isn't it?
Oh shit, yeah, that's
For the
will
for
be
the
there.
UK.
Yeah, yeah. Thankful for that because obviously it's done really well abroad in the US, so we deserve to see that shit.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Mm.
Right, bro. We're coming up to an hour, so I think just past an hour. So we're gonna kind of cut it there.
No worries. It's been a good one.
Yeah, we'll be back in a couple of weeks with a part two, or not maybe not on this subject, but another episode.
Yeah,
So
episode
yeah,
2.
yo, right, peace out.
Save boys.